Okay, we are live. And what can I say? Let's adjust the camera a little bit. Um, let's see now. Let's see. Like that. Okay. Okay. So, are we in the dumb ages? That's something I have been asking myself for a while now. And I have probably been spending too much time online, to be honest with you, during those days when nothing's really happening, between Christmas and New Year. Um, and I've had not the pleasure, but to see, because it's not a pleasure, but I've been seeing people on these social media platforms spreading their obvious ignorance. And it worries me a little bit. We're going to talk about that here in this live stream. KP Heathen, always good to see you. And everyone else as well, of course. We are getting people joining the chat now, which is wonderful. So, I think it's important. A couple of things I want to say. This is just this channel here. It's just an informal, and some would say also infernal, sometimes very funny. It's my little joke. It's just an informal conversation that we are having. Nobody here knows everything, so we're just talking, right? Well, basically, I'm talking and you guys are joining the chat and we are having a conversation. So, yeah, let's get to the point. No, we're not getting to the point yet. Another message that I have. Someone said, "Oh, this guy is putting his logo everywhere." I'm not. This is not. Let's see. This here is not my logo. It's my website address. Why am I doing that? Well, it's because that is my main platform. It has always been my main platform. And I think it's important that people are made aware that I have a website. Yeah. But anyway, what was the other thing? I forgot the other thing. Okay, let's get to the point. I have talked about this before on my main channel, link in the description, and I always get a lot of hate for saying what I'm going to say again. Have you noticed how people mock those who choose to get a higher education? Have you noticed how much propaganda there is out there towards mocking? I think that's the right word here. Mocking those who have a passion for education, educating themselves in the more advanced fields like that, those that take many years, becoming a doctor, biologist, historian, what have you. And it seems like, and this comes from especially the USA, I believe, it seems like people in the USA, a lot of people in the USA, and I would guess you will find them in the MAGA crowd mostly, but maybe other people as well. And they will say, they have this image of people, well, you call it college, people investing the time and so on towards a higher education, that they're sitting there doing woke stuff. And there's this, like with blue hair and a nose ring, and they're doing nothing basically. Um, and while absolutely those people do exist, I mean, if that's your image of, or if that's your perception of people who are going to university, you're very mistaken. You have a distorted um, image of reality. First of all, the USA is not the world. We're going to get back to that as well. I'll make a note so I don't forget. And while people outside of the USA tend to look at the USA as the woke country, that's where the woke people are. And you don't really see them here in Norway so much. It's we we're not getting so much worked up about these issues here, um, and it's we tend to look at the USA as a country with a lot of conflict, internal conflict, um, and I think it's unfair. I think it's an image that mainstream media is feeding us, and also even more so alternative media and YouTube channels and so on, podcasts and all of that. Uh, so so I think it's unfair, but still, that's the perception here in Europe. While in the USA, I know lots of people, they will point at Scandinavia and say, "Oh, that's very woke. The Scandinavians are so woke," which is, it couldn't be further from the truth. It couldn't be further from the truth. I think, the case here is that we don't care so much about these issues. We really don't. Um, but yeah, so I don't like the idea that those who choose to take the path of a higher education, that those people should be mocked. I think it's extremely stupid. It's a very stupid attitude to have, because let's face it, we need those people. We need those people. And also, we should encourage young people to pursue an academic career if that's what they want. If you have a high intelligence, that's probably where you will thrive. Not saying other people are not intelligent, but that's where people with a high intelligence seem to be happier. And it's not so strange if you think about it. If you look at the IQ score of both master's degree students and PhD degree students, now I can't remember the exact numbers, but they are way above average. And people don't like to hear that. People don't like to hear that, because a lot of people out there, they want to believe that people in university are just as stupid or stupider than other people. But that's actually not true. They are, on average, they have a higher IQ score than other people. And I'm sorry if that offends you. Lots of people are getting offended these days. So what's new? You know, um, I worry a little bit about how easy it is to live, to get through your daily life these days. It doesn't take so much. You don't have to make an effort. You can go through life being entertained by something coming out of a screen, not coming out of something on a screen. You can be entertained by that. And if you feel bad about something There's a pill for that, you know? And that seems to be a way of life that more and more people are choosing. Home Planet just glimpsed your comment there. IQ test. IQ, intelligence quotient. I don't know the English word. IQ. Um, and people don't like to hear that. They hate to hear that, and I'm seeing it now in the chat. But you can't change those statistics. It is the truth. By the way, there is no such thing as your truth and my truth. There is only one truth, and the truth doesn't care about anyone's feelings. It just is. So, are we entering the dumb ages? I don't know. I feel that we are, but I don't have any statistics or numbers on that. But if this attitude where everyone seems to be an expert, oh, I'm an expert, on everything, basically, because I've read something on Facebook and I watched some guy on YouTube, that it doesn't make you an expert. And it is symptomatic of this problem that we have people that can be counted in percentage that believe that the earth is flat. Do I sound like Ben Shapiro? Oh, sorry about that. I'll try not to. So we have people, I can't remember the exact number now, but it can be that was numbers from the USA. It can be counted in percentage. It was not many percentages, but it's like more than 1% of the population in the USA believe that the earth is flat. So what happened there? So one thing is to take the stance that, like I'm taking the stance that most things, when it comes to most things, I don't know. I don't know because I don't have the education in that field. So I mentioned before my daughter is studying biology. And here we get the flat earthers. It's amazing. It is amazing. It is amazing. um, uh, but maybe if you're saying that the earth is not round, in English the word it's a sphere. Sphere, isn't that the word? It's a sphere. That's the correct word in English. Yeah, you know what I mean. A globe. I'm trying to say it's not flat, and that we are actually we find ourselves now in a world where we don't have to discuss, but there are some people that can be measured in percentage that they want to tell us all that the earth is flat. What happened? I think what happened is a combination of, and this goes across many, it's many fields of knowledge or not knowing. Social media. You get into sort of a tribe there, and you kind of are welcomed there, and they have a set of beliefs and attitudes that you have to sign up for, and that's how it goes. Where is he curve? Says Sudeep. Where is the curve? Yeah, Jason, maybe they are trolls. All of them. I hope so. Where is the curve? I'll just put it very simply here. Jakob says you can't see curve. The Earth is very, very big. Okay? It is really big. Really, really big. So start there. Now, so most, advanced things, I don't know about those things because I haven't studied it. But when I meet people who have actually studied these things, like biology, of course, I had biology in school, but that's not like studying biology in university. It's really, really demanding. And it takes you to a level of knowledge that other people can't really imagine even. And it's like, I'm an author, I'm a novelist, so I know a lot about writing books. Okay, I know a lot about writing books because that's what I do. I'm not a biologist, to use that as an example. But I think we should try to not stop being critical and asking questions. We saw that during COVID, that people just bent their head, and did as they were told, and people were, big pharma were putting people there, and these are the experts. Listen to them. They were not the experts, by the way. But yeah, that also had a lot to say here when it comes to how people now distrust actual experts, because the word and the concept of being an expert were misused during COVID. And we all know how that turned out and what happened there. Some of us tried to warn. Yeah. But anyway, a lot of this is driven by the fact that most culture in the Western world, so North America, that would be also Australia, New Zealand, Europe, Western Europe, I should say. It's driven by American culture or cultural influences from America. And we get a lot of stuff from America. And I think that's where all the some of these crazy ideas come from, by the way. It's really difficult to understand the curvature of the Earth if you live, I believe, in the flat plains in the middle of America and you've never seen the ocean. Maybe. I haven't been there on those flat plains, but I've seen it on the TV, So I always say that there are two things that we should do to widen our horizon. The first thing is to read books, that is, proper books. And the second thing is to travel. So I think it was around 40%. Is it like around 40% of Americans have a passport? I'm not dissing Americans here, but I'm just saying if only 40% of the population has a passport, it means that less than 40% of the population is traveling abroad. That to me is shocking. But, I can understand. I'm so sick and tired of traveling by airplane. I think it's a nuisance. I don't like to do it. If I could avoid it, I will avoid it. So, and in the USA, you have everything. You have all different, you have deserts, you have mountains with snow, you have deep forests. Why would you travel somewhere else? I mean, why? So I get it. I get it. But it does make what you don't get when you don't travel outside of your borders is to see your own country in a different context. What I learned about Norway and what I am reminded about when it comes to Norway when I travel to other countries is that Norway is a tiny country, and we Norwegians, we have a very good life, very, very good life, compared to almost anyone else. Um, and I mean, the standard of living here is, it's amazing. Not saying we don't have problems here. We have problems. I'm not going to get into those now. I've talked about taxes before, so I'm not going to get into that now. But when you don't travel, and when more than half the population don't travel outside of your borders, you become ethnocentric. And when you're ethnocentric, it's very difficult to see how the world works and to see your own culture in a different context and see it from the outside. I have said before, I'm going to get a little bit into politics now, that I would have voted for Trump this time here again. I would have voted for him the last time. And I don't like Trump. And I don't like the things he's saying, most of it. But looking at this from the outside, that's the president we need in the USA to end the war in Ukraine, and some other things are important there too. So I want to say that first. I seem to have a stance on this that makes me hated by many, many people because I don't subscribe to membership in any tribe. So I'm a right-wing extremist and a fascist, apparently, since I keep saying that I would have voted for Trump given the alternative. So that being said, what we're going to see, I believe, with the Republicans, and I believe that in the USA being so influential on other countries in the Western world, this is important, right? So Trump now is part of the swamp. He got the swamp with him. Those are the Republicans. It's very interesting to look at the donors who was funding his campaign. We're going to see more ignorance. The Republicans in the USA are known for replacing proper science in schools with like teaching things from the Bible. I mean, to anyone outside, it's ridiculous. When you do that, you kind of, people laugh at you. Not you guys, but people who do that, they are the object of ridicule and laughter. And we're going to see that happening more and more in the USA. It's kind of dangerous when you do that, because not only are people going to get more ignorant, but they're also going to get more hostile towards those who are not. And a nation that does not invest in the education of their young people will be facing a problem in the future. It's like roads. That's how I view education. You want to build good roads, right? And there's a reason for that. If you build a road, you're not making money from that straight away, right? But if you have a good road, it will help reduce accidents. It will help trade, transportation, and so on. And in a similar way, you can think about education as an investment in the future. You need to be able to offer education to the kids and the young people so that they can become those who make innovations in the future, right? It's really, really important. We have several examples. Do we have a moderator here? Because we're not taking any crap from anyone here. So if you don't invest in the education of the young people in your nation, you're going to see the consequences of that in the future. We have a few examples of when ignorance is allowed to take over. And there's a name for it. The Dark Ages. Have you heard about those? The Dark Ages? Yeah. And also, you can easily look at the Muslim world, and you can kind of see what happens when ignorance is allowed to take over. When you deny half the population education, which they have done in large parts of the Muslim world, the women, the girls, that's what happens. And they will lose on the world stage in almost every area, right? And then, of course, there's the discussion, who shall pay for the education? And I believe that if you want to know, there should be a difference. There should be some kind of, it shouldn't be like any kind of education is paid for by the taxpayers' money, right? It should be as it is in Norway, where some of the higher education is paid for and some of it is not paid for. You have to pay for it yourself. I paid for my university education, studying economy. You could say economy is useful. Studying economy certainly is, but that was because of the university I went to, family tradition, I guess you could say. But also I have to add that it's really, really difficult to predict which educations, which fields will be useful in the future. It's really difficult. So, but a system where everyone has to pay for the higher education themselves is probably not a good system. That's what you have in the USA, I believe. And what happens there is that only wealthy people or people with wealthy parents get into the colleges, universities, and so on, or you will end up with a debt. Why is there a B there? Shouldn't be a B there. So, yeah, that's basically what I wanted to say. And yeah, I should rename this channel Bjorn's unpopular opinions. And I think, as a side note here, I think it's really sad when you have YouTubers who will only cater to their audience, and they will say exactly what they think their audience want to hear. But anyway, let's see. I'll have a look at the chat now. We have someone here who will be put in timeout because you know who you are. You need to learn to behave yourself, boy. I think that was a boy. Christian, thank you so much for the donation. Yeah, the system in the USA, expensive college. Absolutely. I mean, why would, for instance, can we all agree that it's useful to have people who choose to become doctors, like physicians, surgeons? Can we agree on that at least? If we agree on that it's useful to have properly educated doctors, shouldn't we actually, as a society, pay for that? I would gladly pay with my taxes for people becoming doctors. I think it's very useful to have doctors, right? Tommy says genuine subjects should be free, daft subjects should be charged. Yeah, I agree, but also it's, as I said, it's difficult to know what do we need in the future. But having said that, I am willing to bet that we will not be needing a lot of gender study PhD graduates. If I can say that, just an example. But then again, you have more difficult subjects. Like, do we need people who study the history of arts? I would argue that we actually need people who understand the history of arts. But that's more like a gray area, maybe. Doctor is very easy. We need doctors. So, yeah. Let's see. Yeah. Pyrene Dream says American culture also forces people with inadequate intelligence into taking loans to keep up with more gifted people. Status and ego isn't handled well. Yeah. What I will say is that I read statistics when I made a video on this on the main channel, and because I do read statistics before I talk about these things on the main channel. And the programs were people from other ethnic groups. No, sorry, dangerous. People from other socio-cultural groups, I meant to say, are getting into these programs to get into universities. And you'll have to excuse my choice of words here. I'm Norwegian, so and that has led to apparently people who don't really have the intelligence to go through, a master's degree and all of that, at least. But it's being paid for by taxpayers' money, I believe. If I'm wrong, let me know. I'm sure you will. Christian, oh, thank you. Yes, we also need people from the trades, as you call them, plumbers, electricians, so on. Absolutely. But it's not for everyone. I mean, why can't we rather have this attitude that if that's what you want to do, that's great. If you want to become a doctor or someone with a PhD in history, that's great. I mean, Why can't we? Well, we need obviously both. So let's stop belittling people who choose different from us. Kat, wow, thank you so much for that donation. Are you in Ecuador? E- E- Ecuador? Are you in Ecuador? Wow. Let's see. I'll just scroll down here. Thank you, Jason. Thank you. I'm trying to, I kind of have this attitude that I need to look into facts first and then have an opinion. But I feel that people tend to do many people go the other way. They first have an opinion based on their tribe, and then they gather information or do their research, as they like to say, to reinforce that opinion. Spirit journey all the way from Rwanda. That is awesome. Yeah, KP Hidden. Yes, thank you for mentioning that. Big topic that has also now reached Norway. And you're saying, I don't believe in banning books, but the books should be age appropriate. Yeah. I have something to say about that because I am sick and tired of hearing these people saying that, oh, now you're banning books. Listen, we're talking about school libraries. School libraries. I have been in many school libraries as an author because I used to, before I kind of had a breakthrough commercially, I used to go and you get paid, right, to read for the kids, and they have questions about what it's like to be an author and so on. So I've been in many school libraries, and I can tell you, most of them, at least here in Norway, they are rather small. Rather small. So they have to choose some books that will be in the library. They can't choose more books than they have room for on the shelves. So you could actually say that, well, you can look around and you could say, oh, they have banned a lot of books here, you know. And I would come to some of these libraries and they wouldn't even have my books there. And should I then turn around and say, well, you invited me here, but you have banned my books, you know? Uh, um, and and it's like, what? No, no. So okay. So obviously, most of the books that you do not find in a school library, that the reason they're not there is that they have to make a choice. They have to make a selection of books. They can't have all the books in the world in the school library for obvious reasons because they're rather small. But then you have books that they got there and then they looked at the books and they thought, no, we shouldn't have that here. So in Norway, there was one of the, we all know which books we're talking about. We're talking about, and I'm forgetting what they call it. Transgender thing books, right? And Per Sørli, are you commenting? Is that a comment directed towards me? Let me know. Okay, so you can't. Okay, so the trans uh, books, or books about um, transgender kids, I think it's called. And one of those were banned in at least one school, and a lot of fuss, and they had to take it in there. And it was so innocent. Oh, it was so innocent, they said. And then they had to talk about what was in the book. And I'm not a prude, okay? But in that book, there were actually, how should I explain this? Some image of uh, someone using, not a photo, but someone using toys for adults. You know what I mean? And I don't think that's okay in a school where there are little children. I don't think so. I think that shouldn't be there. And no, no, it shouldn't be there, because you will discover uh, pornography and all of that. I'm not saying that book was pornography, but it's not for kids. It was written for kids, but I disagree with that. You shouldn't give kids that kind of information. No. And yeah, so it was banned in one school, and then they made a lot of fuss and all, and because it's politically incorrect, apparently. So my question is, if this was a book about, dare I say, more common or normal sexual behavior between a man and a woman, if it was like that, and it had the same kind of image, would it be okay? I think it would not be okay. I think they would have not even considered that book. So, you know, yeah, some books should be banned from children's schools. Yeah. So, I mean, it shouldn't be difficult. That's not about banning books, unless you have all the books in the world in that school library, which you don't have. Then it's not about banning books, it's about making a selection. And they're already making a selection. Um, so, and I will add something, because this is the channel where I make myself unpopular. You know what else does not fucking belong in schools? Can you guess? I'll let you guess, and I'll get back to it. Um, no, I'll just say it. Well, religion should be taught in schools, but all the religions, or well, there are many, but schools should not be Christian. They shouldn't preach Christianity or any other religion in schools. That's wrong. It doesn't belong in schools. And now we get people all worked up because I said that. Should they have the Bible in schools? Well, the Bible is without, well, at least most Bibles, without pictures, which is good. I think the Bible is an important book. So is the Quran. Many other religious texts are important. And should they be in schools? Yes, I think so. It's part of our culture. And I'm not a Christian, but I believe that we should learn about Christianity, but Christianity should never be preached in schools. And the same goes for all other religions. Yeah, the Osmanli says schools must be neutral and must teach only science and morality and great values. No, Christian, our belief system, our value system is not based on Christianity. That's a myth. The Viking values are certainly not compatible with your moral code you have today. No, I think you're out of you're on deep water here. So just do some reading, and you can get back later. Well, thank you, Jody. The sound is good. I'm glad to hear that. Trond Arnfinn says they can teach the kids about religion in history lessons. Yeah, you know what I think they should have in schools? Instead of religion, they should have philosophy. And philosophy should be about thinking. You could almost say the art of thinking. And part of it should be looking into and trying to understand world religions. So, and also I think it's important to learn about the original belief system of your the place where you live. Like, so that would be Åsatru, as we like to call it, here in Norway, well, Scandinavia. And I think we have a lot of Christians saying that, not all Christians, but some Christians, they are saying that, well, our belief system is, our value system is based on Christianity. And you can only say that if you, well, thank you, Balvinderotto, I was getting to that. You can only say that if you don't understand the influence of, people like Socrates and Plato and that culture there. So, the Ten Commandments, Tom, yes. Which version of the Ten Commandments? Because there are several. So I don't think the Ten Commandments are good to use as guiding lines for life. There are some good things about them, the modern version of them. But I mean, do you even know that there are several versions of the Ten Commandments? Some of you will know, I guess. And it's like Christianity is something, you know what, I want to say that Christians are normally good people, because what we find in the modern interpretation of Christianity is mostly good values. And I'm saying that in a wider context. But also we need to understand that those who say that we should just follow the Bible, you don't know what you're talking about. Have you read the Bible? And it's like, I will admit I haven't read the whole Bible, but what I have read is enough for me to not be a Christian. Or at least, I would never say follow the Bible. I would never say that, because I think it's highly immoral and quite evil, actually. But then again, what is Christianity? Well, modern interpretation is absolutely mostly good. Um, so I have no problem saying that. Um, um, yeah. But anyway, I think that Islam is a much bigger problem in the world today. I think that's obvious, and I think those who say it's racist to say that I just get tired of those people, you know. Um, which brings us to Syria, and it's so amazing that now we have a mock, not a puppet. We have a puppet um, who will have been placed there, who changed his name. He shaved, he cut his beard shorter, and we're supposed to believe that this guy and his comrades, they will respect the rights of minorities and so on. I mean, now this is Al Qaeda. Okay, these are people who cut hands of thieves. They are flogging people in the streets. They are beheading people, and this guy, he's been doing that. He he can go online. And I shouldn't laugh, but should I cry? I mean, you can go online. Don't do it, by the way. It's horrible. And see for yourself the same guy standing there looking at people having their hands cut off. And that's Islam in its most brutal form, and that's Islam as it has been for centuries. And now they got rid of the cruel tyrant that was there. We must not forget that he was a cruel tyrant. The regime was cruel, and now we have this. Is it a coincidence? No, of course not. A bit of a sidetrack there, but we were talking about Christianity, and I think it's important to mention that it's benign compared to even the most fundamentalists. Even the most fundamentalist American church is completely benign compared to those people there over. I mean, the Islamists. Yeah, big topic there, Christian. Clockwork of the universe can exist without a clockmaker. How can that be? Yeah, I don't think we should get into that because it's a big topic. Who started it all? Did it start by itself? What started it? And then you have, of course, a lot of these people who will argue that something have to have started it, the whole thing. And then they take that as proof for their God, their particular God. And even if it was true that something must come, something can't come from nothing and all that. Well, we don't understand these things, do we? But even if that was true, then, well, I could argue it's my God. It's Odin. Not your God. It's mine. And then we can start a war about that and all of that. People have done that before. So, no, just kidding. There are people out there who don't understand jokes. Let's talk Bushcraft. Says Mickey Mull. So, and you have the spaghetti monster as well, of course. Bushcraft Vikings. Okay, let's. I can't do both. Bushcraft was first. Yeah, lots of opinions about religion. If we leave religion, we just become animals. Recent history teaches us this. Soviet Union. Well, they did leave religion here when Christianity came, and it was certainly a very violent and animal-like period of Norwegian history when that happened. But anyway, Bushcraft, yeah, you know what? Bushcraft is fun. Is it survivalism? No, it's not. Can you use some of these skills in a survival situation? Yeah, of course. But I have done one thing, I must admit, that's over at my channel, Bjorn Outdoors. There's a link in the video description. I have become a little bit more clickbaity. And the reason is that the way YouTube works now, you don't get clicks if you don't clickbait a little bit. That's the sad truth. So I have started somewhat to put the word survival in the title. I don't like to do that, but it seems like that's how the algorithm works now. You have to put survival in the title. And even though, I walk up into the forest, most of the time I just walk, or I take my bike. I have an electric bicycle, which is the object of hate by some people. Not here. It's just very practical for me, and it gets me into the woods, and I sit down, I have a campfire, unless I have an overnighter in the woods somewhere, and that takes longer, of course. And then I whittle something, maybe. I made a Morse Koshansky pot hanger, and I think I called it the Bushcraft survival hack. I did. I admit it. And yeah, so yeah, but it's not survivalism. It really isn't. It's not a survival situation. Do you need to be able to make a pot hanger to survive? No, you don't. Do you need to be able to light a fire under difficult circumstances in a survival situation? Yes. Absolutely. So I guess it's kind of correct to put survival in the title if it's a demonstration of how to find dry firewood when it's been raining for 2 weeks, So, but anyway, that's just how it is. I think bushcraft should be fun first and foremost. And there's a video I saw on YouTube. Well, there are videos about everything, but I didn't watch it. I didn't click on it, but it said something like, "Is bushcraft stupid?" And yeah, of course it is, and that's part of the fun. So you have men. Usually, men should be more women, but you have usually it's a man. He buys a rather expensive knife and some other gear, and he goes out and makes a campfire, and he make some stuff with sticks. um, so is that stupid? Yeah, but you could say, is it stupid? Well, most things that are fun are also stupid. Why do we? I was going to say, why do we go to the gym? But that's not stupid. That's healthy, of course. Why do we? Yeah, I can't think of an example now. But we do many things that are stupid. You could call stupid because they're not useful, but they're fun, and that's why we do it. Golf. Why did I think about golf? I've never been golfing. Golf is stupid, but I'm sure that the people who do it think that it's fun, and that's why they do it. Bowling, stupid but fun. Um, so, yeah, my Tinder video, yeah, yes. I don't get why people think that's so funny. You need Tinder. How can you manage in your life without using Tinder? I don't get it. um, you need Tinder to make a campfire. So yeah, bit of a joke there. So, oh yeah, also I made a phone. That is correct. It's over there on the shelf, actually. Yeah, the little nephews, and they didn't they it did that Christmas gift did not make me popular. I can tell you that. So ungrateful, the kids today, so ungrateful. There was a question about water filtering up here. My opinion about filtering water is that I'm not going to filter water with anything else than proper water filters, because I'm not going to be drinking water that has not been properly filtered. So that's just how it is. And I don't know, but I suspect that many of these videos are staged. So they will make something, and knowing that it's not as effective as a proper water filter, they drink the water, but that water has been in between the cuts. It's that in between the footage, it's been filtered in a proper water filter. I don't know, but I'm not going to risk my health. I know how to filter water in an emergency situation, but I'm not going to drink that water unless I really have to. So Körner says, let's talk about bushcraft instead, and let's avoid the real conversation. What's a real conversation, Körner? Is that what you want to talk about? Is it like that? Luckily, I'm the one who decides what we're going to talk about here. So, yeah. I think you should make your own video. And there you can talk about things that you think is important. I suggest you do that. Read the chat, man. I can't read all the chat. it's going too fast. Now it's slowed down a little bit. But yeah, now I'm going to talk about what yeah, sorry, I got hung up with a troll here. So okay, yeah, kingdoms and kobolds. What is the real conversation? I thought we were having a real conversation now. I'm interested in bushcraft, and I like to talk about it. So yeah, bushcraft is not an art. It's a skill or a set of skills, and it's fun. And also, I need to mention that it makes your camping more comfortable. And I think that, just the focus that we bushcrafters have on making fire is something that sets us apart from other campers or hikers. I have seen so many times that people struggle with, first of all, lighting a campfire and then keeping the campfire going. And when they can't do that, they get cold. I'm I'm going to say this, okay? I'm really good at making campfire. Um, I don't know how many times have I made a campfire out in the woods. I don't know. It's like, if I make a campfire, let's say 3 times a week, that's 150. Is that 150 times a year? And I've been doing it for a long time. Maybe I've made a few thousand campfires, actually. But anyway, yeah. So, Mick says bushcraft is nothing without competent trapping. Well, that's your opinion. Trapping is most trapping is illegal in Norway. All trapping should be illegal, in my opinion. In Norway, hunting would be, in a survival situation, I will say, in most areas, hunting would be a waste of time. Trapping would be a waste of time because of fish, right? Now, I might be biased because I live by the coast, but in the lakes, the streams, just no. I saw some really big fish the other day. I will not say where it is. Yeah, Trond says bushcrafting is simply fun, and it also gives you a great opportunity to develop your skills in nature and also to learn about nature. Yeah. Yeah. So when it comes to food in a survival situation, if you look at proper survival situations, eating plants, knowing where to find edible plants is maybe the most important skill, because plants can't run away. So that has kept people alive in very difficult situations, real survival situations. You're probably not going to make a bow and arrow and go hunting for a moose in a survival situation. So, Metal Moose and Brewskis says Norway has the best farm-raised salmon. I guess you're joking. farm-raised salmon in Norway is a tragedy. It's very cruel. It's devastating to the environment, and it's a big shame. It's a big shame that we do that here. And yeah, the salmon is very toxic as well. Don't eat it. It's not food. Um, yeah, I don't do this for the money. I these live streams. People seem to like this format and the way I do it. So I keep doing it. Um, okay. Let's see. Sharp Canaan says farm salmon bad in British Columbia too. Yeah, and also there is the problem that a lot of these, no, two other problems. They use another type of fish in the salmon, these water cages, whatever it's called, another kind of fish there to try to keep the salmon more healthy, I believe, and they die in the hundreds of thousands, and it's just horrible. Yeah. And some of the salmon escape, which spreads diseases, which has affected the wild salmon a lot here. Thomas says trapping as a hunting method is against the law in Sweden. Yeah, but they are allowed to trap beaver here, and I think at least the beaver, sadly, they are allowed to trap that. Hunting laws in Norway, or the amount of animals and which animals they're allowed to hunt in Norway, is not based on what's good for nature. It's just based on the interests of landowners and people organized in this hunting and fishing association. There is one, and they have a lot of power, sadly. I mean, they pay money. The government use taxpayers' money to pay for people to shoot magpies and squirrels, and I'm like, what the hell? I mean, are you insane? And ravens, it has nothing to. There is no sense and reason involved at all. It's just because some people out there, they just like to shoot animals. Let's just call it for what it is. It gives them a hard on or something, you know. No, nothing wrong with the magpies. It's just no, not gray squirrels. It's no, none of these are. I'm not talking about invasive species at all. So, I mean, what's wrong with these people? You go out and you hunt squirrels and magpies and ravens. Then you have something wrong in the head. Something's wrong in your head then. Hunting for food is completely different. That shouldn't even be compared to that. Yeah. So, but anyway. Yeah. We do have some invasive species here, and there's a discussion, of course, which species are invasive. So we have the wild boar. coming back to Norway. I'm saying coming back because during the Viking Age we had boar in Norway, but then it was hunted to extinction and gone. Or maybe the climate, it got colder, now it's getting warmer again. So the boar is coming back, and they call it an invasive species. That's incorrect. It's not an invasive species, but the thing is that now they are bringing some diseases with them. That's a problem, of course. So there is that to consider as well. And what's the other one? I saw it up a tree the other day. One of those critters that live by the water a lot. I don't know the English name. But anyway. Yeah. No, not otters. No, I wouldn't know the English name. But I have to end the live stream now, and I hope you enjoyed this little conversation about different topics. Yeah, I will suddenly be back. Okay. Have a nice day, and as always, stay strong and stay happy as well.